A pleasant day to everyone. For today's reading, we will discuss the article of Team Harford, The Problem with Facts. But before we proceed to the main discussion, I am Abigail Claire Haukulin, the leader of Group 2, and together with my groupmates Michelle Tisado, Carmel Ann Bugarin, and Marvin Salcedo, we will be the one to further discuss how difficult it is to confront lies using facts and the 3 hurdles to countering a falsehood mentioned by Team Harford. So let's start with the author itself. Team Harford is an economist, journalist, and broadcaster. He is the author of The Next 50 Things That Made the Modern Economy messy, and the million-selling entitled The Undercover Economist. Thiem is a senior columnist at the Financial Times, where The Problem with Facts is one of its articles made by Thiem. Thiem has also spoken at TED, PopTech, and the Sydney Opera House, and an associate member of Nuffield College, Oxford, and honorary fellow of the Royal Statistical Society. The Problem with Facts.
People now use agnotology, or the study of how ignorance is intentionally produced, to stop other people from believing in facts. Before historian Robert Proctor created the word agnotology in 1995, he was inspired by the tactics of a company named Big Tobacco, together with the help of a public relations guru, John Hill. Big Tobacco, together with John Hill, were the first to use the idea of reducing ignorance when they use it to stop people from believing that smoking is deadly. When the article titled "Cancer by the Carton" was published in 1952, which became evidence that smoking is fatal, Big Tobacco got worried because the journalist Alistair Cook predicted in 1954 that the next study about smoking and cancer that will be produced might bring down the tobacco industry. But because of the strategies of the tobacco industry to produce ignorance, the facts were not able to convince the people that smoking can kill. Agnotology was also used in politics. It was used in the United Kingdom's European Union referendum, when the Leave side forced the wrong claim that the United Kingdom sent £350 million a week to the European Union. That claim was disproved by independent experts, but was still ignored, leaving the campaign to be successful. Donald Trump also took advantage of the people's ignorance. In his speech to the Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA, which was a story on the National Public Radio website, he said that he never criticized the agency, even if he did. He said that he never inflated the crowd size at his inauguration, even if he did. He continued to spread lots of proven lies just to be elected as president. The power of doubt is another thing that is being used to stop convincing people to believe in facts. This was one of the tactics of the tobacco industry to stop the public from believing in the fact that smoking can highly cause cancer. First, the tobacco industry promises high-quality research into the issue. Second, they confused the question to spread doubt. They said that lung cancer might have any number of causes after all. Then the last thing that they did was to weaken important research until the tobacco industry gets to show that the news between smoking and cancer is not believable anymore. The Brown and Williamson Tobacco Company already said it, that doubt is their weapon. They use doubt to compete with the facts that exist in the mind of the people. They use doubt to start a controversy and keep that controversy alive, to stop people from believing right away in the facts.
There are 3 problems regarding the fight between lies and facts. The first is that the truth is sometimes difficult to remember and even more difficult to comprehend. People regularly believe whatever they understand the best or whatever sticks in their mind. One example of this scenario is in 1994. People read a narrative about an enormous warehouse fire. According to psychologists Holin Johnson and Colin Sayford, the account mentioned petrol cans and paint, but it was later revealed that neither the petrol nor the paint had been present at the site. The comprehension of the experimental subjects was assessed. The people in question would then still cite the paint when asked to explain the facts of the fire, of why so much smoke. They resorted to a claim that they had already admitted was incorrect, one of the proofs that one cannot unhear a false claim after having heard of it. In addition, it was also concluded that the false claims were much more powerful than the truth, not because they were bigger, but because everyone was talking about it. In the situation of the Leave campaign, an untruth was posted. We send the EU a £350 million a week. In rebuttal to the false claim, the Guardian newspaper made a headline in which it said, "Why Vote Leave's £300 million weekly EU cost claim is wrong." As it turns out, fact-checking articles did correct the problem, but for the average person, they will only conclude that it is difficult to trust politicians, and it seems that they gave a lot of money to the EU. The only thing that happened is that the facts have only been part of ensuring that the truth is heard, but the conclusion is still not a complete thought. The second problem with facts is that they can be boring. An example was when Seth Flaxman, Sharad Goel, and Justin Rao published a study on how consumers read news on the internet. On the surface, the study looked into the polarization, which means a division of the contrasting sets of beliefs or opinions of news sources. The researchers started with data from 1.2 million internet users, but only looked at 50,000 of them. The reason is that only 4% of the sample read enough important news to warrant inclusion in a study. Many of them only hear from those who share their viewpoints. To conclude, that 96% of the internet users weren't conservative. It's just that they set a mind that they wouldn't bother with the news. Moreover, boredom and distraction are powerful weapons in the war of ideas. In this case, Trump, a reality TV star, knows this kind of technique. He will simply pick a fight with Megyn Kelly or with the New York Times, and that will be much more eye-catching than a discussion regarding healthcare reform. On the other hand, the tobacco industry also understands this idea. A neurologist, Stanley Prusiner, encountered a patient suffering from Creutzfeldt-Jakob. It was a dreadful degenerative condition then, thought to be caused by a slow-acting virus. After many years of research, Prusiner concluded that the sickness was caused, for the first time, by a renegade protein. Most experts thought the theory was ridiculous at that time, and Prusiner's career began to decline. Still, Prusiner was able to continue his works thanks to private sector funding. In 1997, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine. Prusiner acknowledged his private sector donors for their crucial support in his autobiographical essay on the Nobel Prize website. It was R.J. Reynolds, the producer of Camel cigarettes, who supported him. He was not only the scientist who received this kind of funding. Even though cigarette smoking is proven to be dangerous, It is also seen that the tobacco industry is the leading funder of various research projects. One of these is referred to as a massive destruction project. It was then that the tobacco industry became good at persuading the media to withhold stories about the dangers of cigarettes.
The final problem is that truth can feel threatening, and threatening people tend to backfire. Jason Reifler, a political scientist at Exeter University, says that people respond in the opposite direction. What does it mean? In one study conducted in 2011 by Reifler and his colleague Brendan Nyan, they tried to run a trial in which parents with young children were either exposed or not to specific information that debunks the feared fallacy link between vaccines and autism. At first, the facts were persuasive. Parents who saw the myth-busting science were unlikely to believe that vaccines could cause autism. However, parents who were already cautious about vaccines were less likely to say that they would vaccinate their children even after exposed to facts. What is going on? Reifler says that people accept corrective information but then resist in other ways. Like in the study, even though they were exposed to facts, the person who feels anxious about the vaccine will still subconsciously push back and think about other reasons to strengthen their belief that vaccination is a bad idea. Just like what Reifler said, people respond in the opposite direction indeed. This problem is also screened by Hastorf, a psychologist at Dartmouth, and Cantrill at Princeton in their study entitled They Saw a Game. They screened the footage of American football between the two college teams and asked their students to sum up the fouls and assess their severity. The Dartmouth students tended to overlook the Dartmouth fouls but were quick to notice the violations of Princeton players. The same thing goes to the Princeton students, which give Hartorf and Cantrill the idea that they did not see the same events despite being shown the same footage. Each student had his perception shaped by his tribal loyalties. A more recent study has revisited the same idea in political tribes. Researchers showed demonstration footage to students and asked them about it. Some students believe it was a protest of gay rights protesters outside an army recruitment office against the military. In contrast, others were told that it was an anti-abortion protest in front of an abortion clinic. It turns out that despite looking at the same footage, the students had different views of what was happening, shaped by their political loyalties. Liberal students were relaxed about the behavior of people they thought were gay rights protesters but worried about what pro-life protesters were doing. At the same time, conservative students took the opposite view. Like in the study They Saw a Game, these disagreements were not about the general principles but the specifics. It turns out that we tend to see what we want to see, we tend to believe what we wanted to believe, and with that we often reject the facts that threaten our sense of who we are. When we reach the conclusion we want to reach, we engage in motivated reasoning, and motivated reasoning was a powerful ally of the tobacco industry. If you are addicted to the product, many scientists tell you that it is deadly, but the tobacco lobby tells you that more research is needed. So what statement would you like to believe? Christensen's tobacco public relations campaign study revealed that the industry often got a sympathetic hearing in the press because many journalists were smokers. These journalists wanted to believe that their habits were benign, making them an industry ally. Even in a debate polluted by motivated reasoning, one might expect that facts will help. Well, not necessarily. When we hear facts that challenges us, we selectively expand what suits us, ignore what does not, and reinterpret the way we want to interpret it. When people seek the truth, facts help. However, facts can backfire when people are selectively reasoning about their political identity.
The post-truth world can be the surrounding that might threaten those of us who want facts to prevail. It is a concept contributing to an environment in which people are most likely to see facts as less influential compared to the emotions and personal beliefs they already hold. Having ignorance, doubt, people who believe whatever sticks in their minds, find it boring, and who tends to backfire, are all linked to being the problems with facts that are repressingly pushing people to live in a post-truth world. Facts appear to be toothless. It is lacking in force or power. Refuting an unfading lie with a set of facts can strengthen its way to be a myth, because some people find it boring. In addition, it has more engaging claims compared to the truth. Providing society factual knowledge can backfire, as those pieces of evidence will provoke different perspectives to what other people are already drawn to, and do not want to live the side where their whole lives believe in. Scientific literacy can give advantages to views coming from well-informed liberal and well-informed conservatives compared to liberals and conservatives who need more improvement in knowing the advancement of science. However, in a research paper conducted by Dan Cahan, Ashley Landrum, Katie Carpenter, Laura Helf, and Kathleen Hall Jamieson, they discovered not of scientific literacy, but through the side of scientific curiosity. Scientific curiosity was put into the researchers' experimental subjects by giving a variety of questions that correlate with their hobbies and interests. People were given a variety of website choices to read for their comprehension tests. Some went for websites such as ESPN and Yahoo Finance, but scientific curiosity was exhibited by others who chose science. Scientifically curious individuals find happiness in watching science documentaries as opposed to celebrity gossip TV shows. Cahan and his colleagues have found that politically motivated reasoning may trump scientific knowledge. However, it appears to be negated for scientific curiosity. The researchers consider that curious people seek out facts for them to gain the feeling of delight in how the world works. To encourage curiosity, according to Christensen, we need to bring people into the story, into the human narratives of science, to show people how science works. Curiosity could cure politically motivated reasoning, and moreover, it is also a cure for a society that refuses to believe in the news because they find it boring or perplexing. Hans Rosling, who has been a Swedish doctor and a statistician, has reached a wide audience and presentations of official data from the likes of the World Bank, where he was selling the facts to describe the world. Facts need someone like Rosling that makes their importance vital for everybody to be curious.
And that is the end of Team Harford's article, The Problem with Facts. Again, this is Group 2. Thank you and stay safe.